Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 1 to 5 of chapter 3. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Mata buddhir janardana.
Tat kim karmani ghore mam.
Tat kim karmani ghore mam.
Niyojayasi keshava.
Niyojayasi keshava.
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Buddhim mohayasiva me.
Buddhim mohayasiva me.
Tadekam vada nishchitya.
Tadekam vada nishchitya.
Yena shreyohamapnuyam.
Yena shreyohamapnuyam.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Lokesmin dvividha nishtha.
Lokesmin dvividha nishtha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Na karmanam anarambhat.
Na karmanam anarambhat.
Naishkarmyam purushoshnute.
Naishkarmyam purushoshnute.
न च संन्यसनादेव
न च संन्यसनादेव
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
Hari Om everyone, and a very good day to all of you. So we are doing verse number 5 of chapter 3, wherein he has started analyzing, or I would say the process of understanding life in terms of action. As I told you last week, life has infinite dimensions. See, the world is being a creation of the infinite. The infinite God principle is there, and then the creation which comes out of that infinite also has the qualities of the infinite, if we can put it that way. Even though the creation is finite, if you go deep within every aspect of creation, you will find the infinite nature of God is reflected in every aspect. If you take a small seed, let us say the seed of a banyan tree, now it looks so small, so finite, but what is the potential of that seed? That seed has the capacity to become a huge tree, and the potential does not stop there. The tree gives many fruits, and from those fruits again many more seeds come, and all those seeds have the potential to become trees, and they can in turn produce more seeds. Thus, if you analyze, the potential of that one seed is actually infinite. So from one angle, if we look at the world, it is finite. But from another angle, if you look at it with a lot of depth, you will find the infinite nature is intrinsically there in the finite. If you take a candle, the flame is there. Now that flame looks finite, but you can light thousands and thousands of candles, infinite candles from that one candle. You can go on lighting more candles. And yet the value of the original flame remains the same. So even though it looks finite, the potential is infinite. Similarly, if you take your own personality, you are a finite person, where since you have got disconnected with the infinite, it looks like you are finite. But if you go deep within through sadhana, you will find that The infinite potential is there within you also. So that is why the great yogis, they say that you don't need to look for God or the infinite in some particular place. Most people think that I have to go to a particular place, only then I can find God. It may be a place of worship, or it may be a particular hill station, and that place is sacred. Most people say no. From a yogi's perspective, there is nothing like that. Every aspect of the world is sacred. See, that's the demonstration he's giving. He is taking up something which is considered as non-spiritual, which is action. Generally, a layperson thinks action means it is opposite of spirituality. Now, the grossest aspect of the creation here is being taken here, action, and is teaching us, when we go deep into action, where you will reach is that state of actionlessness. That is the potential. So from a yogi's perspective, the infinite is present everywhere. There is no place where it is not. That's why in the Ishavasya Upanishad he says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, means the sarvam means everywhere. That infinite Isha means the supreme God, the God principle, that supreme power, envelops the world as it were. It's intrinsically weaved in every aspect. So the difference between the yogic approach and a normal approach is, in the normal approach, they try to find God in specific places. You feel God is confined, even at home, you feel God is confined only to the puja room where you have kept some idol. You feel God is less present elsewhere. That is a wrong approach. You will never be able to find God. You will never be able to get connected to the infinite if you have that limited approach. Even if you go to a so-called sacred place, your capacity to get connected to the infinite will still remain the same only. That is why most of these sacred places have become tourist attractions now. A lot of business is going on. That purity is going away. Why? Because when you go to a sacred place, it's the same mind which you are carrying. So the real solution is in purifying one's mind. Supposing you have a puja room, that should be a place where you get connected with the infinite and carry that connection wherever you go. The puja room, your own place of worship, should not be restrictive, but it should help you to expand your vision. That is what we focus in the yogic approach. Whatever experiences which you are having today, right now, wherever you are, that is the most sacred place for you. If you want to find the infinite, you can do it right now, wherever you are. But the moment you think of a yogi or a siddha or a saint what comes to your mind? You think of somebody sitting in the mountains and meditating. Yes, God is present there also. But your concept or your approach is very restrictive, very limited. You think that unless and until you also go there and do something like that, you cannot become one with the infinite. So in this chapter, he is going to change your entire approach. How to convert your so-called worldly activity into worship. That is Karma Yoga. How to convert action into worship. See, you always divide your life. These are all worldly activities, and then I have certain worshipful activities, spiritual activities in quotes. He says, no. Everything which you do can be made spiritual. That is the very technique of Karma Yoga, the principle of Karma Yoga. So in the normal approach, you're still looking outside, whereas in the yogic approach, the focus is on developing that depth in perception to be able to unravel the infinite within the finite. In this chapter, the finite refers to action, karma. But as we go along, he will be taking up many other aspects, the so-called finite aspects of the world. And through that itself, he will be teaching how do you reach the infinite, how do you expand your consciousness to that level and get connected with the infinite. So as a sadhak, you need to get this in your mind very, very deeply, that God is not far away from you. Everything which you do should become divine. That is our goal. Actually, that is the path also, because action by action, if you're constantly doing everything in a divine way, now it is a question of time. You will get completely established in divinity and you will become a sthita prajna. Now, unfortunately, your concept today is that this is all finite, this is all limited. I wouldn't say that is wrong. From a superficial standpoint, yes, this looks finite. But you stop there and you think God is someone special, present in some particular place, and you have to do something very, very special, probably leave all this and take up something else in order to become one with God. Now in this chapter, he is going to completely smash all these wrong concepts. Supposing a fish were to come to you and ask you, where can I find water? What will be your answer to that fish? You will laugh. The fish is genuinely asking, can you please tell us where is water? Now without water the fish cannot survive. Now you tell the fish, just look around. Whatever you see is nothing but water. But the fish is unable to see that. No, give me some place, some holy place, suggest some holy place where I can go and find water. You just turn around anywhere you want. That place is holy only. That is what is water. This will be your answer to the fish. But till the fish develops that perception, it will feel it is far away from water. So you feeling that you are far away from God is exactly like the fish in the ocean feeling that it is far away from water. A yogi sees this and laughs just as you would laugh at the fish. It is the height of absurdity if you think about it. So throughout the Bhagavad Gita, throughout all the scriptures, the great masters are emphasizing on one thing only. That is, they are emphasizing on developing that jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom, the third eye. If the third eye is not open, if the eye of wisdom is not open, you may be in a place of worship, but you will convert that into an ordinary worldly experience. Whereas if you focus on opening up this eye of wisdom through your sadhana, you may be in a so-called ordinary place, but you will convert that experience into the highest spiritual experience. Ramana Maharishi, he was sitting in the caves of the Arunachala hills in Tiruvannamalai. Now, just because he was sitting there, if you go and sit there, for a while you will feel good because of a change of place. But if you continue to stay there, now will you also get to that state of Ramana Maharishi? There is no guarantee. It depends on what your perception is. What level of purification are you doing with your sadhana? For a common man, it will just be rocks and stones, just some nature, something which is a part of nature. But to Ramana Maharishi, it was a manifestation of God. So through that, he became one with the infinite. Every saint chose a particular spot. Sometimes they went and sat somewhere, or sometimes they were just wherever they were. But they chose a place for sadhana and they expanded their consciousness and became one with the infinite. Now the followers, they get attracted to that place. Their focus goes towards the place where the saint lived. Rather, you should focus on what the saint did in order to become a saint. Whether it was Ramana Maharishi in the Arunachala hills, or whether it was Swami Ramatita in some cave in the Himalayas, or he's going to give the example of King Janaka, whether it was King Janaka in his kingdom. The places were different, but their approach was one and the same, and that was penetrating into the finite and getting connected with the infinite. So just by changing the place, nothing is going to happen. So don't focus on that. See, you have a value for externalities. Actually, many people think that if they keep on visiting holy places, now they will become spiritual. There is no guarantee. It all depends on how you use that. And if you know how to use that, right now itself, in your own room can become your Himalayas. Your own breath can become the manifestation of that infinite God principle, and you can focus on that. And you can do the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana and get connected with the divine vibrations. But when you lack that capacity, you try to compensate for it by saying that let me go to that place, then I will be able to do sadhana. It is because of these circumstances that I am unable to become spiritual. These are all the blocks. But what you need to realize is the blocks are within you only. The blocks are not a part of the external world. The common complaint which people make is, we are leading a normal life. Now how can we become spiritual? In the sense we are caught up in the worldly actions, activities. That is why he says, not even for a moment can anyone in reality remain inactive. So a yogi is not one who does certain special activities. A yogi, first of all, a yogi is not one who stops activities, because nobody can stop. Action is the insignia of life. And the next thing is, a yogi means one who does who takes up certain special activities. That is another misconception. No, a yogi is not one who takes up any special activities, but a yogi is one who does each and every activity in a special way. It is commonly said, no, work is worship. Work means what? Action. So you should strive to reach a state where every action which comes out of you, every activity which you do, it should become an expression of the divine. Then you have truly gained this higher wisdom. So as you do your sadhana and as you start purifying yourself, you will become very content with wherever you are. You know, I received a mail. A sadhak has so beautifully expressed his growth. He has not put it that way, but what he has said is something which is interesting, because that is an outcome of growth only, spiritual growth. He said earlier he had this extreme desire, a kind of a weakness, to keep on visiting holy places in quotes. He had a fascination for the Himalayas. He had gone for the Char Dham Yatra, the four main holy places. Similarly in the south also, in every part of India. And he used to feel that if he doesn't do that, supposing, let's say, for 2-3 months, if he doesn't go somewhere, now, I have become worldly, now I'm getting immersed in worldliness, I'm losing the connection. This is what he used to feel. Now, for the last 2-3 years, that is, it was, he has put it as some 3 or 3.5 years, he's been watching these Sunday discourses and really getting deep into it, the yogic approach. And he's also been doing the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana. Now, after a few months, he says it suddenly hit him that even though he was visiting all these places for many years, when he did the Yoga Sankirtan meditation, he even took the empowerment, all the empowerment courses also he's been doing. But in the very first empowerment itself, in the Yoga Sankirtan empowerment, when he attended, is that he closed his eyes and he started receiving the divine energy, and that started showing another facet, the internal facet of his own personality. He was not aware of that. Till now, he was completely involved with the external journey, but now the inner journey started. So what he saw was quite surprising and shocking. These are the words which he has used. He says, even though I have been visiting all these sacred places, I found that the quality of my thoughts are still the same. The quality of my emotions are still the same. This was the realization which he had. It's the same issues are still remaining. I'm having grudges against certain people. I hate certain people. I'm afraid of certain situations. I quarrel with many people. The inner nature, the consciousness has not expanded. And even when I used to visit these so-called sacred places, it suddenly occurred to me that I used to find fault with so many things there. See, if you want to find fault, you can find fault with anything. Something will be wrong, So this realization came to me, he says. And it was a shocking revelation, as it were, for him. And then when he connected with the higher Shakti and he started doing the sadhana every day, he says, now in these 3 years, actually I have not gone anywhere externally. But the very quality of my emotions and thoughts have changed for the better. I have become less judgmental. My long-standing issues have slowly been taken care of internally. That is, all those issues have been resolved. I was hating a few people, and now I am free of all that hatred. They are no longer occupying my mind. I am able to sleep very peacefully. And when I wake up in the morning, he says, I just close my eyes, and he practices that sadhana which was suggested even during the Sunday discourses that has been suggested, and even in the empowerment programs, to sit and get connected with the higher energy and the Guru Shakti and offer gratitude. All that I have started doing. The very quality of my life has changed because the quality of my thoughts, my emotions have changed. This is how he has expressed his progress. I'm I'm sharing this with all the other sadhaks because all of you also would have experienced this kind of a thing in your own way. But I want you to focus on the principle. That if you do your sadhana properly, then the value for externalities will automatically drop. When you don't do your sadhana properly, then you will have a lot of value for externalities. You will think that God is restricted somewhere. That uncontrollable desire, extroverted desire, will consume your life. It will consume all your energies. So, as far as karma yoga is concerned, the principle is to first conserve your energies. See, in any sadhana, you need to conserve your energies. If your energies are dissipated, you cannot do sadhana. So when it comes to action, see, in your life, action is one of the main source of depletion of energy today. When you wake up in the morning, what is your internal state? And then you get on to do a lot of activities, and by evening you're depleted of all your energies. Why? You will say it's because of the various activities which you have done. I'm not talking of mere physical depletion. I'm talking of the inner depletion of energy, the mind. Now, when you learn to see the infinite play in the finite, which means when you learn to view action in a spiritual way, the same set of actions which you're doing, instead of depleting your energy, will start filling you with more and more energy. That is why you find a yogi is able to maintain the same spiritual focus, the same spiritual energy, irrespective of where he is or what he is doing. Whether he is in India, or whether he is in America, whether he is in UK, whether he is in Australia, anywhere, it does not matter. Because the internal focus which he has does not change. The external scenes may keep changing, but he remains rooted with the infinite. So this principle which he is using to see actionlessness in action is a very powerful principle. It's not enough if you merely just run through these verses in a superficial way, but you need to get to the core principle which he is trying to convey, and that is seeing or experiencing the infinite in a so-called finite experience. Here in this chapter, action is the finite experience, and how do you see the infinite in that? When you lack that capacity, then you will consider action as something which is against spirituality, and you will want to run away from action. The same action can be a source of stress to you and immerse you in worldliness if you don't know how to relate to it properly. Or the same action can become a source of spiritual strength, spiritual energy, and it can expand your consciousness and get you connected with the highest. So, when you do your sadhana on a daily basis, just have this basic understanding. You're doing your sadhana in order to convert every aspect of your life into a spiritual one. Your spiritual sadhana is not restricted to that 1 hour of Yoga Sankirtan session. That is when you play the material and when you are hearing it. It is not restricted to that, but that is meant to purify you so that slowly, every experience, every action of yours starts becoming spiritual. Moment by moment, action by action, you start getting connected with the infinite. So, from where does all this start? It is, first of all, how do you understand life? Today you're seeing life as, the life means here activity, action. You're seeing life or action as something which is divorced from spirituality. You feel this is a mundane world, whereas God is someone who is way above all this. But He's saying, no, that is not true. See, He's starting that process. Because the more you think action is divorced from spirituality, your emphasis will be on someday giving up all these activities in order to become spiritual. See, He wants to first clear up that from the deep layers of your mind. See, externally you may say so many things, but the belief systems which you have deep within you, they don't change so easily. That is why He is presenting this in a powerful way to knock and change those belief systems. So in order to emphasize the point that escaping from action is not going to help you, that attempt is not going to help you, He uses 3 phrases. First, He says, not even for a moment. The line is, nobody can remain inactive. It is not possible to remain inactive. Now, 3 phrases which He uses, that is where the emphasis is. Not even for a moment. Nahi kshanam api. Kaschit. Kaschit means anyone. This is the second phrase which he is using. And then jatu means in reality. This is what is a fact. So 3 powerful phrases he uses to emphasize the fact that inaction is not possible. See, it is very interesting when you emphasize on something, the whole complexion or the meaning of that statement will change. See, supposing you go and ask a person, let us say you want to ask the person, why are you doing this? Now, if you put the emphasis on the words why are, and you ask, why are you doing this? Now here, the emphasis is not on what is being done, but the emphasis is on the reason. You want to know why. Supposing you shift your emphasis from why are to you, and if you repeat the same question, why are you doing this? Even though now the question remains the same, because the emphasis has shifted from why are to you, now the whole meaning changes. Of all the people, why are you doing this? That's the meaning which comes. I never expected this from you. Why are you doing this? Of all people, you are doing this. You can see the meaning changes. The statement is the same. Then when the emphasis shifts to doing, why are you doing this? Then the emphasis shifts to the action, doing. The whole meaning again changes. And then finally, when you emphasize on the word this and you repeat the same statement, why are you doing this? If you say, of all the various actions, why did you pick this alone and why are you doing this? Again, the meaning changes. So the statement being the same, we can get, in this simple example, we can derive 4 different meanings just based on what word or what phrase are you emphasizing on. This is the power of emphasis in communication. See, remember, when you communicate to people, it is not merely about what you are saying, but what you are emphasizing on. Many a times, I've heard people say, I communicated to him, but he didn't understand. Why? Because your emphasis was not okay. See, you should learn to emphasize on those things which you want to communicate to, which you want to communicate to the other person. This is a very interesting principle of communication. So here, what is it that Krishna wants to communicate? Not merely the bland statement that inaction is impossible. No. He wants to emphasize on certain things. And that is why these three phrases have been used. Not even for a moment can anyone in reality remain inactive. So you all would have done that homework which I gave you just to read this statement with that emphasis. See, that sadhana was given so that you, even when you don't understand the full meaning of this, you would be able to absorb the energy behind it a little bit into your system. Then when we go into the depth, it will make it very easy for you. So now we will go one by one. First we will take up this phrase. See, each phrase is emphasizing something. And all three put together gives that power to that statement that inaction is not possible. So what is the first phrase? He says, not even for a moment. Nahi kshanam api. What does he mean by not even for a moment? Not even for a moment inaction is possible, he says. Why? Because life means activity. If there is no activity, it is actually death. See, from a layman's perspective, why do we say someone has died? See, the person is lying down there. Now the body is there, all the organs are there, everything is there. But earlier he was living, and now you say that person is no longer living, he is dead. What is the criteria with which you determine whether a person is living or whether that person has died? A person who is living is performing some activity. You may say breathing. Breathing is also an activity only. And when all those actions which you're seeing, they have stopped, then you say, now this person is dead. So what does this show? Life means activity. So if you take the creation, it is nothing but full of activity. The very process of creation is action only. Right from conception, action starts. When a sperm and egg, when they fuse, that is an activity only. Even before the sperm and egg fuse, there are millions of sperms who rush towards the egg and the egg waits. Both are in a very active state. It's very interesting. And out of those millions of sperms, one sperm is successful and it fuses with the egg. They call it a zygote, that is formed. Just a mass, of cells. And then the activity, so it is a product of action only. And then the zygote keeps on growing. Every moment, every second, every millisecond, to whatever denomination you want, you go with respect to time, the cells are multiplying and growing. So right from conception, the activity starts and it continues night and day. The cells keep on growing. The cells divide and they take various shapes and functions and group together and forms. They all form various organs, and those organs develop. It is all coming from the basic cells only. What now they are calling it as a stem cells. But from a spiritual point of view, that one has become many. And that process is continuously happening. After that, the baby comes out of the mother's womb. Have the activity stopped? No. They keep happening all the time. Right now you're watching, you're thinking you're performing only one action. I am now watching probably two actions. I'm watching and I'm hearing. I'm listening to whatever is being said, and I'm also seeing the video. You're thinking only two activities are being performed by you. But in reality, right now, millions and millions of actions are going on within you. Every second, they say that more than 100,000 cells, some 300,000 or something, cells are getting replenished. The old cells are being thrown away and new cells are being formed. We're talking of every second. Just for you to register a site, I believe 1 million functions have to happen within your eyes. They call they call the cells as rods and cones, and how they have to coordinate. So many things are happening. This is only with respect to the eyes and the connection with the brain center of the eye. We are not even taking the mind and all that into the picture. If you were to take the mind, it has to hit the sense center of the mind. No, that will get into another infinite flow. Just the physical body itself, when taken, you will find that you may think that you are performing one activity, but there are millions and millions of activities which are going on within. Infinite activities are going on. And it is not merely when you are awake. When you go to sleep, you are thinking, now I am going to take rest. So now I am going to stop activity. But each and every aspect of your personality is fully into action when you are asleep also. A lot of things are happening in your body. See, you have your dinner and then you go to sleep. The very process of digestion, which means absorption, filtering, everything is happening when you are asleep only. It's just that you are not conscious of those things. But even when you are awake, you are not conscious of what is happening inside. So when he says not even for a moment, it is literally true. Even when you are sitting and meditating, now I have stopped all the activity. No. At the cellular level, the activities are still going on. And from the cellular level, if you go to the atomic level, now the subatomic particles, the vibrations are there. This is all with respect to the physical body. When you go further deep, when you go to the pranic body, you will find that In the first, the prana vayus are there, the 10 prana vayus, which is what was taught to you in the prana vayu, prana tattva level 1. So the prana vayus are very active. And then when you go into the higher pranic body, the energy centers, the nadis, so many secrets are there. They are all constantly functioning. And then when you go to the mind, so many layers of the mind are there. And then when you go to the karmic level, the karmas. Thus, when you go deeper and deeper within you, you will find that subtler and subtler activities are happening. So on one hand, you will see meditation is a process where you will start becoming very, very silent on one hand, but you will also be a witness to so many subtle activities going on within you. It's a very beautiful combination of silence, actionlessness, but at the same time being a witness to all the activities which are happening. And when you go to the highest level, they call it the Shakti, the infinite power, which is the very source of all expressions, all activities. A Tamil Siddha, he said, Sakti illayel Shivam illai, Shivam illayel Shakti illai. Shivam means not Lord Shiva. See, there is a difference between Shiva and what he calls in the Tamil Siddhar calls as Sivam. Sivam represents that infinite formless reality, and Shakti represents the expression. One cannot exist without the other, he says. So beautifully expressed. So when he says not even for a moment, means every moment action is going on. That one phrase is enough. When you meditate on that, you reach the highest, which is the union of Shiva and Shakti. It looks very, very innocuous. That's what I'm saying. The yogic approach is penetrating into ordinary things and discovering the extraordinary potential within. So when you sit and meditate and when you start observing what is happening within you, now, see, right now you are conscious of only a few things, certain external aspects of your physical body. But as you go within, the human anatomy, the human physiology is so interesting. It's a spiritual experience. In the Kaya Tattva course, that is what that was taught to you. How do you go within and see your own organs? How do you experience your own cells? And how do you experience your own atoms? Those meditations were given to you, and even the sadhana materials have been provided, which you've all been doing. That increases your subtlety. Actually, the self-healing powers of the body get activated when you start recognizing the infinite vibrations which are going on at the atomic level. Every moment. Kshanam is a beautiful word. Then the question comes as to, can you change those vibrations? Can you make them divine? Because those vibrations can influence the formation of cells and in turn heal the various organs of the physical body. That is how the yogis developed this science of Kaya Tattva, which is the self-healing process. So it is not only with respect to your physical body, as I said. Then when you go to the prana, it's a prana tattva. The Kaya tattva was taught to you, and then the prana tattva level 1 has been given, which are available as online courses. So even if you want to repeat them any number of times, you can do that, because that's going to increase your subtlety. And then when we go to further higher levels, prana tattva level 2, another whole world will be opened up to you. This is how you progress in the yogic path. It's by slowly increasing the subtlety. So not even for a moment, the first emphasis, it's a very powerful phrase which has been given here. And that one phrase is enough for a yogi to become very meditative and move from the finite to the infinite. But invariably you will miss it. No problem. Then he continues and gives a second phrase. That also you miss. No problem. I'll give you the third phrase. That also you will miss. We'll keep going. But we can go on covering. It all depends on how much you are absorbing. Just sitting at your own place, if you can experience the Shakti, the supreme Shakti which is functioning everywhere outside you and within you, not even for a moment the action stops, then it will be an amazing experience, because you become a witness to all the activities, but you become very silent from within. That combination is what is Karma Yoga. See, every aspect of these verses actually contain hidden messages, and using the yogic approach, when we absorb that has a potential to take you to the next level. So this has been beautifully depicted in the Puranas. The Trinity, Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. Brahma is a lord of creation. Vishnu is a lord of maintenance. Shiva is the lord of destruction. But what are the three gods doing? How have they been portrayed? See, imagine, the entire world, he says, not even for a moment activity stops, which means everyone is acting. Everyone doesn't mean only human beings. All creatures. And not only that, see, a human being is made up of trillions and trillions of cells, and each cell is a separate living being from a spiritual point of view. Even from a medical point of view, that's what they say. So, at the cellular level, at the atom level, we consider every cell, every atom as an individual only. So no one can remain active, means nothing in the world remains active. And what are the different types of activity? You have on one hand creation, on the other hand you have maintenance, on the other hand you have destruction. If, for example, if you take from the cellular level, old cells are being destroyed every second. Crores of cells are being destroyed. Then new cells are being created. So the creation is also happening. In this process of creation and destruction, your body is being maintained. So the maintenance activity also happens. So whether it is at the microcosmic level or at the macrocosmic level, every moment activities are happening. But what is very interesting is, whether you take Lord Brahma, or whether you take Lord Vishnu, or whether you take Lord Shiva, all three of them are always in meditation. Lord Brahma is sitting on the lotus and he is in meditation. Lord Vishnu is in the supreme state of Vishnu Yoga Nidra. The Sri Hari Dhyana that was introduced to you. Lord Shiva, he is constantly in meditation. So on one hand, the activities are going on. They are saying they are the gods, responsible for the activities. But on the other hand, they are in a meditative actionlessness stage, Naishkarmyam. That combination, they have so beautifully portrayed. So when you start going into the depth of what he's saying, now your consciousness will withdraw. Because if you have to observe something, you will have to stand apart from it. If you, supposing there is an art on a wall and you want to see it clearly, now you will go and stand a little away. Only then you can see that art clearly, no? Similarly, the very process of observing the activity which is happening everywhere, every moment, that will make you withdraw your consciousness inward, in the inward direction. And you will automatically become meditative just by absorbing the energy behind Nahi Kshanam Api. Not even for a moment the activities are being stopped. Constant action is going on. For you to observe that, for you to realize that, you have to be in a meditative state. So the very attempt to absorb this, to understand this, will automatically make you meditative. That has been so beautifully portrayed as Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. They are in the supreme state of meditation. See, their meditation is not like a sadhana, how a normal sadhak does. They are beyond all this. But that principle has been so beautifully portrayed. On one hand, they are connected to the Shaktis, activity. On the other hand, they are always in a supreme state of meditation. Now, as a sadhak, that is what you need to now master. In today's meditation session, I will initiate you a little bit into this. Whatever has been stressed upon and given to you, we will practice that a little bit. Just withdrawing the consciousness a little bit and seeing the action, seeing the play of Shakti everywhere in the entire cosmos and within you. It's a very powerful sadhana process. See, even though he's just merely saying not even for a moment can anyone in reality remain inactive, it looks like an ordinary statement. But if you go deep into it and do sadhana with it, now it will withdraw your consciousness and it will start awakening the inner powers from within, because it is only in real silence that your spiritual powers can be awakened. And when I say silence, we are not talking of mere verbal silence. I think that is very clear to all of you. Talking of that inner silence. So this line, even though he has put it in a very simple way, has the potential to make you go inward and become very, very silent from within. Actually, the more you start understanding action, the more silent will you become. On one hand, you will be acting very dynamically, but on the other hand, you will become very, very meditative. That's what Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, so beautifully that principle has been portrayed. Of course, nobody understands the deeper significance, the sadhana significance of these the Puranic incidents, See, the same principles which are given in the Vedas, they have been given in the form of Puranas, hidden messages. The Vedas direct principles have been given. Here the principles have been given in the form of stories so that you absorb those principles. It's easy for you to absorb and you become meditative and become one with the infinite. So remember this, the idea of studying action is for you to actually transcend action. It's a natural process. If you study it this way, if you use the yogic approach. So not even for a moment can anyone, kaschit, that is the second phrase which is being used, and then he says jatu, that is in a reality, they can remain inactive. So kaschit means no one is really an exception to this law. Why? That's why we defined life initially. Life means activity. Action is the essential ingredient of life. No coffee can be made without coffee powder. If you take away the sweet taste, then there can be no sugar. If you take away heat, there can be no fire. Similarly, if you take away action, then there can be no life. Shakti itself means action. What we call as karma is a manifested form of Shakti, that higher energy. The grossified manifested form of Shakti is nothing but karma, action. If you have the jnana chakshu, with the spiritual eyes, when you begin to see that truth, then everything in the world becomes a play of that supreme Shakti. It's all the Leela of the supreme power, the supreme energy. Wherever you are stationed, just there, if you develop this infinite depth, infinite perception, now you begin to see the play of that supreme energy everywhere. Without that Shakti, without that energy, the very existence is not possible. The very creation is not possible. The very destruction is not possible. The very maintenance is not possible. So you are a part of that creation. So then the same Shakti is running within you also. That is why it is said that that supreme power is present everywhere outside. That same supreme power is present within you also. So this week, after your sadhana, today I'll initiate you into that. After you do your personal sadhana, whatever it is, whether it's yoga sankirtan or prana tattva or that infinite happiness, any meditation which you're doing, after that, just for 2-3 minutes, if you can just close your eyes and feel the entire universe as a manifestation of that supreme Shakti. Activity is constantly going on. After today's Nididhyasana meditation, you will be able to do it. I'll initiate you into that. But this week, I want you to practice that and come. See, it is easy to take the same Karma Yoga from a lower level also. The same chapter can be taken in the way of how to now act better and succeed. That is also, that also will be covered. But when you have this opportunity to go into real depth, why should you miss that, So this week, just for 2-3 minutes only, after your personal sadhana, let us say you're listening to Yoga Sankirtan and it's all over, just sit with your eyes closed and you visualize the entire cosmos in which you're also a part, and feel the Shakti manifesting everywhere. Action is going on. Not even for a moment those vibrations have stopped. See, initially you will see gross action. As you become subtler and subtler, you will start feeling the divine vibrations. Okay, so we'll stop with that today. The rest we will continue in the next session. Before we do the meditation, I will take up one question. This question has been asked by Dr. Anushka ji. Sir, when you spoke about completion of experiences, how to complete the hang-ups in life? Is it by forgiving and forgetting? Deeply grateful and thank you, sir, for giving guidance. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, your humble sadhak, Anushka. So it's a very beautiful question which has been asked, very useful question. It will be extremely useful for all the sadhaks. Now, every now and then, this topic about completing experiences keeps on coming. Many a times it has been mentioned, complete your experiences, complete your experiences. Now, I'm not going to get into the full principle of completion of experiences, because there are many aspects to that. It's not so simple, but as and when the context comes, many dimensions are being given to you. See, for example, we are doing action now. How do you complete your experiences? By purifying your actions. Similarly, elsewhere, let us say, bhavana, the context of bhavana comes. Now, how do you complete your experiences? By purifying your bhavana. That is how this wisdom will be given to you. All the subtler aspects of spirituality are being given to you, but in a carefully structured way. The dosage is very important. So we will take up that part of the question which you asked, that is it by forgiving and forgetting, how to come out of hang-ups. So obviously you're talking about one particular experience. Say, let us say you have a few negative experiences with one particular person. Now, how do you come out of that? See, even though the experiences may have happened, let us say, many years back, that can still come to haunt your mind. This is what happens when impressions are created. We always talk about psychic impressions, no? Many incidents happen in our lives, and then the experiences will go away externally, but that will continue to haunt the mind internally. It is not only this birth. Our yogis have made intense research on that. Thousands and thousands of births which you have gone through, all those experiences are only haunting you. Actually, that is the very sadhana, is to come out of that only. So when you ask about a particular hang up in life, particular experience, is it by forgiving and forgetting? That's what you asked. Forgiving is one method. There are so many techniques given. Out of that, forgiving is a very powerful principle by which you can resolve a particular issue. You can cut off a particular negative karma associated with a person. When it comes to forgetting, that is not in your hands. It is only a very, very advanced yogi who can willingly forget something. As far as you are concerned, there is a very high level. It is there in the Puranas, where Parvati decided to forget herself. I'm not getting into the full story part, but she said, I will forget myself. And she sat and she forgot herself and she was born in the world. And then she did sadhana and again went back to Shiva. It's a very powerful message. That is, at that level, just as you talk about remembering something, they can even forget themselves, forget whatever they want to forget. It's a power which a yogi awakens. So let us not get into that now. But the forgiving aspect is more practical. So when you, let us say you have a negative experience with someone, that person has harmed you, in some way hurt you. Now what you need to realize is when you carry that within you, now you are the sufferer. That person harmed you once, but you are harming yourself again and again by emotionally being attached to that experience. So the technique of forgiveness has been given to relieve yourself of that suffering. It has nothing to do with the other person. The mind will bring in various logic and it will say, if I forgive the other person, then it amounts to saying what that person did was correct. That is not the context at all. The context is, how do you get rid of your mental suffering? Why should you suffer because the other person did something to you? The other person will anyway have to pay for his or her karmas. That you don't need to worry. The first step is you have to become calm. Why should you allow your life to become a turmoil because of others' actions? So that forgiveness, it's not a mere word. It should come from the heart. I forgive that person. That bhavana should be very strong. So the best time to supposing some incident is really bothering you, the best time to practice that would be after your sadhana. If you can, because that time the vibrations will be high. So if you can connect to the Guru Shakti and then just sit and you can say, I forgive that whoever that person is. It's a feeling, bhavana. When I say not loudly, internally. In the Infinite Happiness course, a special empowerment was given for forgiveness, and a meditation has also been given. That is, self-forgiveness was given. That will help you, because the more you practice those meditations, the energy of forgiveness will become very active within you. Then it will be very easy to forgive others also. So it's a very effective technique to overcome these emotional hang-ups in those areas where someone has hurt you. Now, what is the point in carrying that scar throughout your life? What are you achieving by that? Nothing. That person came, hurt you, and that person has gone, let us say. Now you are sitting and losing your sleep over that. So this is the medicine, this is the balm. So forgiving that person truly from within actually instantly frees your mind. The emotional attachment which you have towards that negative incident completely goes away from you. And then you will find that that hang up will be released. This is one way by which you can release certain negative experiences. But as far as forgetting is concerned, I wouldn't suggest that now. We'll see that in the future in advanced empowerments. See, that capacity first has to be built, through the purification. Then in advanced empowerments, that will also be taught to you. Because right now, if you say, I will forget something, that will come back to haunt you. Because you may not have that that much of tapas, to be able to influence the deeper layers of the mind so powerfully. So don't practice the sadhana of forgetting now. That is meant for advanced stages. Forgiving, you start doing that. Whichever bothers you alone, you do. More than that, it is not enough. It is not required. Okay? So now we'll do the meditation, Nididhyasana. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. beyond this physical body, beyond the various emotions and thoughts, lies my supreme higher self. I am one with that infinite self. That supreme Shakti, the energy, is functioning in each and every aspect of this universe. Every aspect of life is an expression of the divine Shakti. Infinite actions are happening in each and every moment. I am a silent witness to all these actions. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today we had a very deep session. Once you develop the spiritual perception, ordinary things in life will no longer be ordinary for you. These so-called ordinary verses will start conveying the highest truths. That is the role of a master. A master is one who strives to develop that perception within the students. Whatever sadhanas which the master gives helps a student to develop that higher perception. So this week, do that small homework. I have initiated you during the Nididhyasana meditation process. So when you do that, after your personal sadhana, just for 2-3 minutes. Don't overdo it. Don't sit and do it for half an hour after your sadhana. No, that will become too much. Just for 2 or 3 minutes. 3 minutes, let us keep it. And, you see the play of that Shakti, that energy. All activities are going on. And you are a silent witness to everything. Okay, so do that sadhana and come back next week. See, when you do this, the homework which is being given to you, that will prepare you to receive more energy. Then only I can also go into more depth. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Hari Om.